Yeah, so for this week's main topic, just after we returned from our Run Disney Springtime Surprise Race weekend, we were back out at the Walt Disney World Resort, literally just, 3-4 days later,
right.
for another big, exciting event. It was Moonlight Magic out of Disney's Hollywood Studios, Michelle.
Yes, I mean, we've done several different Moonlight Magics, and we've actually done Hollywood Studios before. But this time we really had an opportunity to get very much immersed into that experience.
Right. So if you don't know what Moonlight Magic is, it's a perk that comes along with being a Disney Vacation Club member. If you are staying at a Disney resort at the time of one of those happens, easier to book. You get a window open. You probably are going to be able to secure tickets. And it's also open for those DVC members that maybe aren't booking a stay at that same time. However, that can be a little bit more difficult to get. Once we found out the dates for Moonlight Magic, we instantly booked a stay and ended up working for us, and we were able to go, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's very similar to a lot of the other nighttime events of what they have available and offer. But like you said, it is free. So even if you don't have annual passes and things like that, you still have an opportunity to go in there and have some fun.
Yeah, and we had the benefit this time of we invited some friends of ours to come along. We weren't sure they were going to be able to make it because it was relatively last minute. As a matter of fact, at first it was like, oh, sorry, got to work, can't make it. But then they realized, no, actually the work schedule is different. We're able to go. So we had Pat from the Conversations podcast. He's been on the show before. He was out with us at Springtime Surprise Race weekend last weekend. And his daughter, Emily, who was also out there last weekend, came along and joined us. And we had an amazing time with them.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was so much fun.
They're always so fun to spend some time with. And it was good that they were able to make it out. And we had a great time. When for Moonlight Magic, there's a lot of fun stuff that happens. DJs, shortened lines for rides, tasty treats to sample, all sorts of different things. This time, one thing that they added, which we weren't expecting, is they added a special showing of Fantasmic. We had not seen that in the last time that we went to Moonlight Magic.
Right. And so, again, if you're not familiar with Moonlight Magic, the event technically goes from 9:30 p.m. till 12:30 a.m. And the park closes at 9 p.m. So half an hour before the party starts. But you can actually go into the park earlier, even if you don't have park hop or annual passes or other passes. You can go in at 7. So this was really pretty nice that they did add a Fantasmic showing after the park was closed. So it was only for people who were at the event.
Yeah, and we did take advantage of that for sure. So, yeah, we got there, as you mentioned, it starts before the actual event begins that they let people in, similar to what you would have for Not So Scary or Very Merry or any of the other parties. They usually will let you in if you have a ticket for those events. By the way, this is complimentary for Disney Vacation Club members, or at least it's added to. You pay a lot of money for Disney Vacation Club, but this is something you don't have to pay an extra fee to go attend. Right. And so you were able to get in at 7 p.m. We arrived there. I was working until 5 p.m. Luckily working from home. As soon as I got off work, we hopped right in the car, buzzed over there. It took us about an hour and a half. We got there about 6:30 and headed into the event. Pat and Emily joined us a little over a half an hour later. I think they got there a little after 7. They ran into some traffic on the way there. But we got in, and then we decided we were looking at the guide. And we knew this from the last time we were there, that most of the treats, because you get a ticket for each person for 3 snacks, essentially, while you're there. But most of them, while there were a few savory-ish options, most everything was a sweet option. So we wanted to actually get some dinner. So we ended up going to one of our favorite spots at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge. It was a little tricky getting our table there. We got on the wait list at first, and then we weren't sure if, since Pat and Emily were showing up late, if they were going to make it, or if they wanted to go with us even to do it. And so we had a table. We didn't have a table, but eventually we were able to get that table and get in there and had a nice meal. We both had Cobb salad, some of the famous brown derby Cobb salads with our favorite margarita flight that they have there. And just it was a nice meal to kind of kick off the night.
Yeah, we also sampled one of their newest additions to their appetizers that was so delicious.
Yeah, that was the hamachi, right? The
Mhm.
hamachi, which is kind of a raw fish dish.
Mhm.
Really small, very, very
Very
light,
small.
very, very light, but it was lovely tasting. It's very flavorful. I'm glad you decided to get that. I got to
Yeah.
sample a little bit of it. You got a little bit more than me, but that's okay because you really wanted it, and it was really enjoyable. But the Cobb salad was great. Margaritas are great. It was a good kickoff to the evening.
Yeah. Kind of filled our bellies and ready to party on.
Right. So what we did, because of the fact that we had annual passes, and it was actually a good to go day, although we probably would have made a park reservation ahead of time anyway, is because there'll be a huge line waiting out there for people to get into this event.
Yeah, at the front gate.
Yeah, at the front gate. We bypassed that and walked into the park and did all those things. And then we walked over. They had a spot near by the portal into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where you could go over there and then you could get your wristband and your event guide and everything else over there. And that worked out perfectly for us.
Yeah, it's definitely a quicker way, when you're trying to go in at that time. And I think they opened their availability. It must have been around 7 o'clock
I think they opened at 6:30.
6:30.
6:30 there, and then it ran till 9 from there. And you could have gotten it at the front gate from 7 to 9:30 or 10.
I think it was 10 or 10.
In case you showed up a little bit late. But but that started off, and then we kind of walked around, just enjoyed some time, just taking in, a lot of moonlight magic and some of the beauty of that park at night. All Disney parks are beautiful at night. That's another one that's beautiful at night. And then it was time to head over to Toy Story Mania for a little bit of a challenge, a little women versus the men Toy Story Mania challenge. How did that turn out, Michelle?
The men won.
The men won. The men won. But we did have some fun doing a little Toy Story Mania over there, going through by the line for whatever was available over at Woody's Lunchbox was huge, like a super long line for people over there getting the treats from over there. I think there were some interesting, I think a couple of the savory dishes were over there as well. Like there's some tots and some other things that were over there.
Right.
That line was long. I'm like, we're not getting in that line.
No. I think what was really nice this time compared to other times we've been to Moonlight Magic is that the email in advance just kind of reminding you of where to meet to get your band and stuff like that, is they actually gave a digital image of what was going to be offered and what was going to be available. And that
basically the early look at the event guide.
Right. And that really helped plan on, what areas, where do they have food that can be used for your snack credit, what's going to be available even for purchase food during the event, because not all the restaurants, even not all the quick service, stay open for the party. So that was super helpful to be able to plan that. And I think that's where we kind of knew some options, and if one line was long, we knew where else to go.
Right. And that was also, you could also see where who the specialty characters were that would be there, because at all these events there are some characters that you can't always get pictures with at different times of the year. So where those are, and so you can plot that out, and you can plot out your evening if you want. We maybe didn't plot out our evening the best way possible, but we had a great time no matter what. If we wanted to do any one single thing, whether you wanted to do attractions, whether you wanted to do food, whether you wanted to do character meet and greets, whether you just wanted to have a fun time, we probably could have plotted it out better, but we ended up working out great. So from here, we went to get another perk of Moonlight Magic is all the free ice cream you want, as far as Mickey Premium ice cream bars, or the ice cream sandwiches, or the juice bars, the fruit bars. We had to take advantage of that, Michelle.
Yeah, it's definitely the best perk there, I think, that you can have access to that free, and they have stations throughout the park where you can pick those up.
So we found our spot, picked up ours, and enjoyed our ice cream. It was a wonderful evening. It was really perfect weather evening. There was a light breeze, so it was a little chill, but not cold. something you'd want a jacket or some long sleeves for, but I was wearing shorts as well. You were wearing something that was covering your legs as well.
Yeah.
And it was actually a really nice evening.
Yeah, it was
weather-wise.
really pleasant, really nice. The humidity was not really strong, so made it super nice.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
So from there, it was time because Phantasmic was going on at 10:30. So we headed over to the Phantasmic Theater to go check that out. And Phantasmic's always amazing. It's one of those magical specialty Disney shows that just it tells you everything you want about Disney, and especially since a few years back they added a couple new scenes with some of the princesses and other Disney characters involved. They've really made it even better than the older version of Phantasmic, and it's great. Enjoyed it so much.
Right. I mean, and the advantage of going into one during these evening events is one, you don't have to get there so much ahead of time to get a great seat. It's because it's just they're not filling up that stadium like they do on most evenings. So I know you could, if you're doing it on a regular night, you could just do a dining package with it. Here, we didn't have to do that. So that made it convenient. And we didn't have to, like I said, since we didn't have to get there so ahead of time, it didn't cut into as much of our event time.
Yeah, I think we got there about 20 minutes before it began.
Was it not even that long?
Yeah, I think it was 15 to 20 minutes before it began. And got a really good seat, But of course, it was only maybe half full,
right?
With people. So it was perfect for us. The show was just as good as it always is. Mickey battling the Maleficent dragon and everything else, and all the imagination, all the characters. It's everything you want from Phantasmic, and loved it. And we hadn't seen it in a few years,
right?
So that's why we wanted to make sure. And since it was available for us, I knew we weren't going to have to wait an extended period of time. We wanted to take advantage of that. Now, in hindsight, especially now that we've seen it, if we were going again in the very near future, like maybe next year, I think I would skip it because the night went very, very quickly. And I think being in there for a better part of an hour between the show and waiting to have the show actually start, it's not a long night already. And then we were just having so much fun and there was so much to do that we probably didn't get everything done that we would have liked to do.
Right. I was going to say the same thing, that it did take a big portion, about a third of the evening, if you think about the time of the party, to do that. And so, yes, it was great because, like you said, we haven't seen it before. And so it was wonderful. And if anybody gets to go either on Moonlight Magic or one of the nighttime shows, and they do have that add-on just for that, ticketed event to do Phantasmic, it is a way that you can get great seating without being there, so tremendously long in line. We didn't wait in any line. It was a walk in.
Walked right in.
Yeah.
Found our seats. We had great seats right in the center. It was beautiful. Watched the show. It's amazing as always. And then headed off and did the rest of our Moonlight Magic fun, including we walked out and we were just shaking things in and got to catch a little dance party. They had a DJ out in front of the Chinese theater there, and they had some characters dancing with people. If you wanted to get a dance party on, especially if you had little ones with you, it was great to have a dance party there. And we even got a little bit of Goofy doing a little dance out there, getting down with the DJ. But all the characters were out there. I know we saw Mickey, we saw Minnie. I think we saw Donald and Daisy out there. I think Chip and Dale. It was mostly the classic characters were out there. But it was really, really cool to see for sure.
Yeah, I think they did a great job having so many of those classic characters right there in the center throughout the evening. And, people, kids or adults, can go out there dancing. And the DJ was excellent.
Yeah, for sure. And we ended up after that heading over and we wanted to pick up some of our tasty treats. And actually we ended up not being that hungry in that night. So we just ended up packing up some of the tasty treats that we get for free. We got some of those Jack cookie num-nums, right? As a matter of fact, we got a few of those Jack cookie num-nums to take home, and we've been enjoying them over the last few nights for dessert.
Yes. It's one of those things that is easier to actually get and take along with you or whatever, or snack along at the park while you're there. And in terms of value, it was one of the best values
Mhm.
for the snack coupons.
Yeah. So for the snacks that we got personally, we got those, and we got some of the Kat Seska's popcorn from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to enjoy a little bit as well. Had a little bit of that in the park and brought a little of that home as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's always so delicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there were lots of things you could choose from there. Again, there were some savory items, some sweet items, some items that were available even before the park closed, but they were not available after the park officially closed for regular guests. So you had to kind of pick and choose how you were going to approach your snack coupons. One thing I'll tell you, I'm just going to go ahead and flash ahead to the end of the event. And this is the first time I've seen them do this at the end of the event. As people were walking out front, they had some stands there with some sodas, some waters, and like they had some glazed almonds. I think they may have had popcorn there too. That if you had some snack coupons left over, and you're like, oh, we missed out on our chance because we were getting character photos, we were riding attractions, we were watching shows, we were doing whatever. We didn't get to use these up. They had those out there so you could use them up on your way out of the park. And I thought that was brilliant because we've known people, and we ourselves have walked out of there without using all our coupons, and you get a little disappointed because you're like, oh man, I missed out on something free. Whether you wanted those items or not, at least it gave you the opportunity to use them up and get a little something extra.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. That is something that if you don't get to use them, then you're disappointed. And what was really nice about this, I mean, we left when the party was done. It was already 12:30, and they were still there handing those out. So it wasn't like, oh, if you left at 11, there's somebody there. This was at the end of the party that they knew people might be leaving without you having used those tickets. And I thought that was, like you said, really a nice touch.
As a matter of fact, Pat and Emily, they had some coupons that they had not used prior, and I know they used some to at least get some of the. I don't know if they got a soda, but they definitely got some of the glazed almonds that were there.
Yeah, they were good.
They shared it with us.
Yeah.
They were very tasty. Yeah. I wouldn't have. I think I might have saved a coupon if I'd known that was going to be there to pick some of those up on the way out because they were very tasty.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that was a nice. Again, I don't know if Disney Vacation Club has been doing that more recently. This is the first time we've experienced it, and I thought it was a nice addition to the event for sure.
Exactly.
So the next thing we did, after we got our Jack Jack Cookie Num Nums, is we wanted to see a couple characters that were nearby, that were unique, that we have not ever gotten pictures with. The first being we got pictures with Ian and Barley, from Onward, which we had not got pictures for, and they were great. They were so fun characters. The line wasn't super long for them, and it was really, really fun to finally meet them and have a great picture taken with them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen or heard that they were in the parks. I'm sure they have been. Now they don't have PhotoPass people there, but they do have cast members who will take your phone and take plenty of pictures. And like you said, these characters were very interactive.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Everybody, there was a lot of great energy in the crowd too. People who were getting their photos taken and people waiting. There was just a lot of joy. It was wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, you interacted more with Barley. I was interacting with Ian, and Ian was just a riot. He just wanted, he was so excited to talk to me, or not talk, but motion to me. And he was having a good old time. It was fun. It was a really fun meet and greet that we'd never experienced before. And I'm so glad we got to do that.
Absolutely. And they're very talented in terms of being able to communicate without talking. So bravo.
And Pat and Emily also got in there with him. For those of you on YouTube, you may notice Pat may look like a certain archaeologist. He's dressed up a little bit like one Indiana Jones, and believe me, there were comments about it all night long, and it was a lot. That added a little bit of fun to the evening as well. Is that between not only other guests that were there as well, but also cast members talking to him, and there was some good interplay between the two of them. We had a lot of fun with that all night long,
especially in Batu.
Yes, really a lot of fun there. But that was great.
Yeah.
One we wanted to get a photo with, but we could not. By the time we got there, they had cut off the line. Don't know if we would have waited anyways because it was a long line, but we had cut off the line, and there was a Wally meet and greet there, and we love Wally. I would have loved to have gotten a picture with Wally, and we got to see some people getting their picture taken, and it was adorable.
Right.
But they'd cut off the line. They did say we cut off the line now. If the line moves fairly quickly, we may reopen it. But it was like, it was getting near time was flying by.
Yeah.
Like I said, we couldn't believe how late it already was. And we're like, are we going to wait just to see if this opens? And then if it does open, get in there and wait for that. And just basically that takes up way the rest of our night. We decided against it, but we did get a picture of Wally and got to see some people interacting with Wally, which was cool.
Right. Yeah. It was really nice that we did get this opportunity to at least capture Wally. And I think that was, kind of a key thing. And yes, you're right. It would have been nice to be up there, but I'm glad we at least had that opportunity to get between people, get some good shots.
Right. Absolutely. Another character that unfortunately we didn't get over to the area to meet at all was Asian P. Perry the Platypus was there taking pictures. I think that line was probably very long as well, but we just never got to that area and we really wanted to. But again, the night flew by, and it was, we were a little disappointed that we didn't even take a look to see if we would have had that opportunity. But that was there for you as well. Several other characters there. I know Duffy was there. I think Duffy was very popular. There were other characters as well. I'll show you a couple more here in just a moment that we got to go by, not get pictures necessarily with, but it was just really cool to see them. But then, after that, we just kind of walked around and looked a lot at the beauty that was Disney's Hollywood Studios. I got some great pictures in Toy Story Land, and Pat captured me getting pictures. This is, for those of you on YouTube, you can see what Michelle watches a lot of times when we visit Disney parks. That's me stopping somewhere to get a picture somewhere, because as we put out pictures every day on social media, and so I take a lot of pictures, and so Pat captured that. It was a little bit actually a theme of the night for Pat. He caught me several times taking pictures of things around.
Love that. Made it really funny. But I mean, especially the fact that we're heading over to Galaxy's Edge and going through Toy Story Land. It was, so almost empty, but very peaceful looking and enjoyable to take that in as we're going over there.
That's one of my favorite things about these Moonlight Magic events, especially as you get later. Even in the earlier parts of the evening, it's much emptier than you'll find in other parts of the day. But once you get past 11:30 midnight, like it is like most people are gone. You can get some great photos, just really take in the sights. It's really, really pretty to do. As I mentioned, we did head over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge from there, from Toy Story Land. And we did run into some more unique characters. I mean, of course, Chewbacca's there regularly. But C-3PO was there. R2-D2 was there. That was really cool. There was a couple funny moments that actually Pat captured these for us, including we got to see Chewie doing a little bit of the C-3PO walk with him, which was really, really fun. And yes, R2-D2 approached us looking for the secret plans to the Death Star. I tried to get him something, but apparently it wasn't what he was looking for. I think Michelle had a little secret for him that he seemed to be a little bit more accepting of, because he kind of like took that information and then gradually moved off. But it was cool to have that interaction as well, even though we didn't get the official photo. We had some cool moments with some of our favorite Star Wars characters.
I don't know that they were, well, definitely not by then doing photo ops with them, but it is nice again that they were having more characters roaming around at Galaxy's Edge. So
also Boba Fett was there. We saw Boba Fett over there. He was meeting guests as well. So some really interesting Star Wars characters that you could have gotten photos with too. Then we headed over. I mean, it's Pat has a Star Wars podcast. We are Star Wars fans. We had to do Rise of the Resistance with a shorter wait. Now we walked over there and we were interested, like, it says it's 45 minutes. How can it be midnight? A limited ticket event. It is 45 minutes. We're like, we don't think it's 45 minutes. We're going to walk in there and we got to do Rise. And we realized there that we had not done Rise with Pat since February of 2021, the first time we had ever met him and his partner on his show, Charles. We met them for the first time in person in February of 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, and we rode Rise together then. That was when he had to do the virtual queue and everything else. Although we'd seen them many times after that, this was the first time we realized that we'd ridden with Pat again on Rise since that point.
Yeah, that was amazing that it had been that long. And who would have guessed that? But it was great that we had that opportunity, and that sign saying 45 minutes was not accurate. We walked on.
Yes.
We actually kind of hustled through the queue because we knew it was getting late.
We were moving through that queue. Like
there was
and we literally
really nobody in front of us.
Literally walked on the attraction. I have a feeling that it was more about the fact that they didn't want a lot of people to see it was a shorter wait and maybe at the last moment before leaving, getting in line, because the cast members want to go home too. It's a late night for them, especially Disney's Hollywood Studios. They're not open that late, most nights. So they didn't want people to see, oh, it's only 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm going to go get in that line. If it's 45 minutes, you're like, okay, well, I may not get into that attraction.
Yes.
We just walked on, and it was great because it was just the four of us. It was Pat, you, me, Emily, and we had our own car.
Right.
And so we could just have a good old time as we're going through the attraction, make comments, as not distract anybody else, which we would never do that with the people there, because you don't want to take away from their experience, but it was just us. And we've done this attraction numerous times. We could have some fun with it. And we did. And it was great.
Yeah, it really was. It was so much more fun than most times going through Rise, which is always amazing and fun. But yeah, I like that there were some people there, not a lot of people. And like I said, they weren't closing the line. We entered the queue, I think it was 10 after midnight. Around that time, so it was close to the party ending, but they were grouping everybody in groups of 4, so you only had to be in the front row. You had the car to yourself, and that was great.
By the time we got off attractions, as a matter of fact, as we were walking out, they were closing off the rides. No more people could go and get in line and to go on it. So it was exactly 12:30 that we finished it out. But it was great. It was such a fun experience. And like you mentioned, Rise is always great anyways, one of our favorite attractions in any park. So it was really, really fun to get to experience it again and to get to experience it with wonderful people, huge Star Wars fans. And we just had a good time, and that was great. And overall, that's just kind of the way the night went. It was a great experience at Moonlight Magic. Again, it went so fast. I still don't know where all the time went.
I think the Fantasmic.
I know that was a big part of it, but even that, it seemed like we should have had more time. It was amazing how quickly it went, but it was great. We enjoyed it. We had a fantastic time checking out all the various different stuff that went on, and highly recommend it. If you know a DVC member, if you are a DVC member, that you look and try and get into your opportunities to do these at any parks. We've experienced it at EPCOT. We've experienced it at Typhoon Lagoon, Disney's Hollywood Studios. We've done it at Disney California Adventure Park. They're great at any of these parks for sure.
Yeah, and I like that they have them every year. And they've actually, over the last couple of years, have had multiples at some of the parks or some of the locations. So it's not just once a year. Over in the West Coast, yes, it is just once a year. But on the East Coast here, we do get to see multiple times, maybe 2 times at some of these locations. So that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are a Disney Vacation Club member, you probably already know, but you should be trying to make your best effort to go to one of these, because it'll help. It's just a bonus thing for your trip, and you've already paid enough for your Disney Vacation Club membership. Take advantage of it and do one of these events. But like I said, even if you know somebody who's a Disney Vacation Club member, see if they might be going sometime, because a lot of times they will have extra spots to bring you along. That's what we did with Pat and Emily. We had a couple extra tickets, brought them along, and couldn't have been better company for sure. For the entire thing, and it was great. We thought about trying to pimp them out, because they were offering specialty seating at Fantasmic if you brought some prospective new DVC people to meet with them there, but we never ended up doing that. We couldn't. And actually, I think they would have been interested in Disney Vacation Club, but we didn't want them to take up their time there doing that as well. But it was great evening.
Absolutely.
But that wasn't the only thing we did. We got wrapped that up, said goodbye to Pat and Emily. They headed back. We headed to our resort. We were staying at Bay Lake Towers. Thought about getting up early in the morning and trying to do Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. However, by the time we got back to the room, was get to bed. It's like 1:30 in the morning. We're not getting up to do early entry for that. We did check to see in the morning if it was available for us, what the wait time was. It was a little longer than we wanted to do by the time we were ready to head out. So we just instead decided to head to EPCOT for a little flower and garden fun, Michelle.
Right. We love Flower Garden. We love the food. We had our list ready of what we were going to go in and try, and it was again really nice weather on this day, and we couldn't have had a better time.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. I mean, just some light cloud cover, which provided some sometimes shade, sometimes sun. The temperatures were in the upper 70s. I think it reached the low 80s by the time about we decided to pack it up and head home. But it wasn't too warm. It was nice.
No.
There was a nice little light breeze to kind of cool things off. It was a really great day, and it was relatively dry too. It wasn't super humid or anything, so it was really nice. Of course, you got to take in the topiaries, right? Yeah, that's part of Flower and Garden. And also part of Flower and Garden, as Michelle already mentioned, was the food. We did experience some of the food. Interesting thing for those of us you watching on YouTube, we only got a picture of one food item the day. And I think it was actually our least favorite of the food items. Not that it wasn't good, but it was probably the least favorite of the food items we tried. But we did try a lot of great food while we were out there, Michelle.
Yeah, they always have new dishes, and we tend to try to focus on those. Although there's some favorites that we like to experience every year. They brought back the yacht grub and beach grub locations, and we do love a lot of the things that they offer there that were not necessarily new this year, but we love them. Same thing with the waffles and chicken with honey that they have every year. But I think we really enjoyed going to the Mexico Pavilion and trying some of their new dishes. Seems like they are consistently adding different or sampling different ones each year, and that's always a treat. And I think you actually enjoyed a different margarita there.
Yes, we had a lot. So here's everything that we tried on this day. We did try a lot of great food, some new, some favorites, as Michelle mentioned. So first thing, and the thing we got right off the bat, I think it ended up being our favorite dish of the day, which is we went over to the Florida Fresh booth at the Community Core Plaza. The blackened fish slider there with Cajun remoulade and a fried green tomato on a brioche bun is amazing. It's a slider, so it's not really large, but it's a really nice piece of fish, blackened. So you got that spice there, along with the Cajun remoulade. And then you have the little bit of sourness from the fried green tomato and a little bit of crunch from that as well. And then it's this brioche bun that's sweet. So you get a little spicy, you get a little sour, you get a little sweet. It's a little bit of texture. It was really, really good. As a matter of fact, we picked up a couple more to take home with us that evening on our way out.
Absolutely. And that was a new item this year. And we, like you said, we really enjoyed it. It was interesting because they had two similar, they had another one similar to that over at the American Pavilion, but I think we really enjoyed having this. It didn't have, the one at the American Pavilion does not have, and I said it's still going on, does not have the fried green tomato.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we really thought added so much flavor to this particular slider.
That's a shrimp po' boy that's over there at the American Pavilion. We debated getting that, but we decided, no, let's go ahead and get this instead. Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Because I know I was looking at it, and that's why I thought about getting it.
I thought they also had a slider.
No, they had a blackened shrimp po' boy, and then they also had what was it? Typical New Orleans dish. It was a gumbo. It was a gumbo.
Yeah.
Over there as well, which was, we were tempted to try both of those things, but we decided against it when it was all said and done.
Yeah, I think by the time we got to there, because we had
tried some other things.
We were kind of pretty satisfied with how much food we had and didn't want to overdo.
Right. But we did go over from after we got the slider, we went over to, as Michelle already mentioned, we went to beach grub and yacht grub. Beach grub, we got one of the returning favorites that Michelle really enjoys, which is the seafood bake with shrimp, mussels, clams, and dewy sausage, red potatoes, corn on the cob. And then it's like a white wine broth and some little pieces of sourdough bread on there as well. What did you think of that, Michelle?
I thought it was good. I think, with any festival food, sometimes you're going to get a hit that's much better than others. I would still try it again because it still has a lot of great variety of seafood. I thought like the mussels were very tender. The clams that they had, I had one that was very tender and one that was not tender at all. So that's why I say is, sometimes it's a mixed bag of what you get, but it still had a lot of nice flavors.
It was all right. I tried some of it. It was all all right. It's not particularly my thing, especially the being in the park. I like all those things, but it just doesn't hit with me when I'm there. But
yeah, and the corn on the cob piece that they had was so flavorful and
right.
delicious.
And they were doing grilled corn on the cob there as well, that you could have gotten some of that, which looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's another thing I don't want to be eating while I'm at the parks, just kind of just my personal preference. But I know a lot of people enjoyed it, were getting it and really enjoying it for sure. Over at Yacht Grill, we got a cocktail. We got the limoncello basil sparkling cocktail, which is sparkling wine, limoncello liqueur, and club soda. What did you think about that drink,
Well,
Michelle?
first of all, when I was watching them make it, I was pretty impressed with the pours. I thought they were generous pours with both the limoncello and the sparkling wine. I am not a club soda fan. I like tonic water over club soda. So I think, to me, that addition was not the best blend, having the club soda. I actually think a tonic water with it might have been good. It was very light and refreshing, and that's what I think they were trying to really emphasize in what they were describing and what they were selling there, is that it's a more of a refreshing kind of light spritzer kind of drink. And I think it was that. And for the most part, I like the flavors. It just, like I said, I'm not a club soda fan, and I should have gone with knowing that.
Yeah, that was my thing with it, is that the limoncello didn't really come through. Limoncello or the sparkling wine, which is kind of the flavors I would have liked to see come through. Instead, the club soda came through, and it added a bit of bitterness that I wasn't a big fan of. I really keep wanting more of that lemon flavor. It was refreshing, but it just wasn't where I wanted to hit on. I felt it needed a little more sweetness to it. I agree with you. The pours on both the sparkling wine and the limoncello were great. For a cocktail at a booth. Sometimes you get those pre-prepared cocktails, you have no idea how much of it is juice versus alcohol.
Right.
Those pours were great, but the flavor profile of it just wasn't where I needed it to land. Maybe it needed to replace, like you said, it could have been tonic water, maybe a little splash of lime in there, or maybe what they've done a lot is adding, like lemon lime soda in there. That might have been good as well. But either way, it just wasn't perfect. But it wasn't bad either. It just wasn't perfect. We did then go over to Mexico, because we needed to hit that booth because that's one of our favorites, the Jardín de Fiestas booth there. And that was probably, of top to bottom, our favorite booth for across the board food there. We got the chilaquiles con carne, which had corn tortillas, it was almost like a corn tortilla cake.
Yeah.
It was really, really rich and interesting. Tossed in salsa ranchera, Monterey Jack cheese, with shaved ribeye, poblano peppers, onions, queso fresco, and crema mexicana. We also got the taco de calamar, which is a flour tortilla filled with crispy calamari, fried garlic, pasilla aioli, and chives. That was good. And then we did get a couple more drinks because, hey, we're there. Let's have some fun. Let's have some more margaritas going on. And they were both delicious, but for different reasons. We got the Flower Power Margarita, which is Dulce Vida Blanco tequila, orange pineapple juice, blackcurrant lavender liqueur, and Empress 1908 gin, with a rose petal flower salt on the rim. And then we also got the spicy mango margarita with 100% de agave blanco tequila, reposado mezcal, tamarindo liqueur, mango puree, and lime jalapeno juice with a chili lime salt rim. Both of those cocktails were delicious for different reasons. One was a little bit more sweet, obviously the Flower Power. One was a bit more sour, but more spicy, but also it balanced it really, really well with the other margarita. Michelle, what did you think about those two drinks?
Well, I definitely like the Flower Power a lot better, but I think it's because I'm not a big fan of the mezcal, the
more of the smoky flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, I felt like it was a little bit bitter, but I can appreciate what of a margarita that was. The Flower Power was just so, sweet, easy to drink, deadly in that regards, because it was also, we didn't see the pores, but you could tell it did have a good amount of alcohol there. I do want to point out one thing that I just remembered about that other spritzer is that the other thing that was unusual about it was supposed to be like a lemon basil spritzer.
There's one little piece of
And
basil.
they just added a piece of basil at the end. So it was like, well, wait a minute. There's really no flavor being drawn about the basil. And I thought that was unusual.
Yeah, I think they could have muddled it in there a little bit or something.
Yeah.
But
or
whatever.
if
And I did see some other people afterwards as we walked by that they seemed like they had more basil in theirs than we got. Like ours was almost an afterthought. Like maybe.
Well, it was because he goes, oh, wait a minute. He kind of took it back and threw one piece of basil. But yeah, maybe if something was like if they were going to use the club soda, having that, I know they need it for the carbonation, but if something's sitting in and being able to withdraw a little bit more, like you said, muddling the basil. Anyways, I digress. Sorry
That's okay. Yeah, the basil did not come. I mean, it was a limoncello sparkling cocktail, sort of. It was really a club soda sparkling cocktail, but the basil did not come through, at least for our. But that's what we find in these booths sometimes is that it can be hit and miss. You could come back in the next day and that could be the perfect cocktail for you. If it sounds good to you, I'm telling you the pours were good. You might want to give it a try. I'm just giving you what we found with one we sampled.
Exactly.
That sometimes those things can happen. Going back to the margaritas, I loved the spicy mango margarita personally. For me, I know it wasn't your taste. Honestly, and I'm not recommending that you get 2 drinks for yourself. But they are a really nice balance between this kind of more sour, spicy drink and a very much more sweet, floral kind of drink. Like if you could take a sip of one, take a sip of another, or maybe if you could find a flight or share it with some other people like we did. Perfect balance there. As far as the food, the chilaquiles con carne was phenomenal. I loved it so much. It was so great. Just the right amount of spice to it. Richness of the cheese and the way that the tortillas were almost like a cake. It's such a different kind of chilaquiles, but it was really, really fantastic.
Oh, it was delicious. I think it's one of the best dishes that they've had at any of their festival foods offerings.
That's another dish we debated on picking up another one than bringing home, but we decided on some other things instead. The taco de calamar was also, I enjoyed that. I know you had a bite and I think you thought it was okay, but it was more my thing.
Well, first of all, I was a little hesitant to even want to try it because I thought calamari and festival food and knowing that maybe it's good, and it really was good. I was surprised at how good it was. I think that I was just leaning towards more the other dish, but the
other dish was better.
Yeah,
but this was very good.
But it was good.
Yeah, and it was really crispy calamari, which I liked on there. And the sauce was nice with it. It could have been a little bit more to it. I think they could have added some shredded cabbage or lettuce in there or something. Not it's just filler, but just something to add a little more to it.
Right.
But it was still delicious, and I would order it again. But the chilaquiles, I highly recommend.
Yes.
It. Very, very good. And we did also go by the Honey Bistro, as Michelle already mentioned. The picture that I had up earlier was the honeycomb bowl with herb quinoa, honey whipped goat cheese, poached apples, and hot honey cauliflower topped with a honey twill. It was tasty, but I felt like the quinoa, there was too much ratio quinoa to the other elements that were in there. If you could find the ratio where you get more of the cauliflower and some of the apples and the goat cheese, maybe it balances a little better. It played a little gritty because of the quinoa, which is great. Quinoa is great, but when it takes over a dish, it can be a little bit tough on you.
Right. And some quinoas, some they do prepare it differently, that it's pulling in other flavors. This was a very earthy flavor of the quinoa. So I think, like you said, it overtook it. They typically, their other dish over there has a little bit more flavor, the profile that we tend to like. This wasn't bad, but I'm glad we tried it, but I wouldn't get it.
I just wanted if they could have taken out about half that quinoa and added in a little bit more of the honey cauliflower. That's what I think that dish would have been excellent if they had done that. But because it was mostly the quinoa it would just be after a few bites, it became a little tougher to eat.
Right,
It just
right.
started wearing on you. But a little bit of quinoa with more vegetables or more apples or whatever, that it would have been fantastic. But
Yeah.
and again, it could be just the one that we got.
Right. I was just going to say the same thing. Being festival food, it may just be how that that individual
Mhm.
was portioning up the plating.
What is still a hit, and we ended up bringing some
Mhm.
home, was the chicken and waffles. Is a crispy chicken, the sweet honey bacon cornbread waffle with whipped honey butter and orange blossom honey, sweet, savory, bready, cornbread sweet, even with little corn kernels in it, and the waffle.
Mhm, mhm.
It's fantastic. It's one of our favorite items, and it's been a returning item for the last few years, and we always love it out there at the Flower and Garden Festival.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, the portion of the chicken is a really decent, especially for the price that you're paying there. It is a really good sized portion of chicken that you're getting. It's nice and coated well, crispy. The honey was definitely, and I love honeys. This was
You ended up buying some honey when we were
I
out
did
there.
buy some honey out there. This was really delicious as well. I thought it was good accompaniment. They didn't like overdo it or anything like that, but it was a nice blend with the bites and that. And
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a hit. And it's
Mhm.
one of the better values, I
Mhm.
think, for items you're going to get around there, as far as how much of a meal it can be. I mean,
Right.
it can fill you up because it is a big, it's like a chicken thigh, It's a
Mhm.
better part of a chicken thigh. The waffle isn't huge, but a little waffle, everything. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to try a lot of things, I wouldn't suggest this is one of the first things you try, because your appetite's going to go pretty quickly because it's pretty big. But as far as bang for the buck, definitely one of the better items for
Oh
sure.
yeah. And the good thing is you're not really filling up on a lot of bread. Like you said, the waffle itself is smaller than the piece of chicken by
Yeah.
far. So you're not filling up on a lot of bread there if you're getting that
But
item.
it's really, really good.
Mhm.
Really, really good. So that was all the food we experienced. But before we left Flower and Garden Festival, we had to take in, of course, the butterfly garden, because we were already seeing them out there. The flowers were beautiful throughout Flower and Garden,
Mhm.
and there are already lots of butterflies just flitting around, especially over by Yacht and Beach Grub. We were over
Right.
there for a while. So many wonderful butterflies. But then we went into the actual butterfly garden, and they're just so amazing to see all these beautiful butterflies just landing on different flowers and flitting about, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, I think it was a really perfect time to go because I know last year my sister and I went, and we went kind of at the very start of the
Mhm.
Flower and Garden Festival, and there were certainly a plentiful amount of butterflies, but not quite as much as what we saw here and experienced here. And I think having that time to transpire for more butterflies to, come around was just amazing. And it is really so well done and so beautiful. And everybody from every age you could see that was in there just really appreciated all the wonderful beauty that was there.
Right. And you learn so many great things about butterflies and how you can protect them and how you can attract more to your spaces around. There's some of the great pollinators in the world, obviously the bees. And by the way, you learn a lot of great stuff about the bees over at the Honey Bee
Right.
over there, and how you can help with them and make sure
Right.
their populations are thriving, which is what we really need right
Mhm.
now. But also the butterflies do that part too. It's the birds and the bees and the butterflies and the trees, and it's
That's
all of
right.
it all combined, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's edutainment for sure.
Yep. And they're just beautiful to look at. The
Right.
kids love them. It's great. It's a great spot to go on, especially on a day like this, because sometimes it can get a little hot in that tent.
Right.
This was perfect weather to
Yeah,
be in there.
it
So
was
it was really,
wonderful.
really nice. And that was it. We headed home and just thought back about what an amazing weekend, what an amazing event it was. It wasn't even a weekend. It was the middle of the week.
Right.
And it was less than 24 hours we were out there, and we just packed so much in. It was just really, really wonderful. But mostly it was great to spend another fantastic time with friends. for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Very dear friends. And we were blessed to be able to have them join us. And yeah, and if you're ever thinking of, and we've had people on before who have done these 24-hour trips. There is so much you can do and fit in, and yet not be so overwhelmed at the parks. And we encourage you to make your own effort to do something exciting
So
like
you're on a
that.
bench for 24, 48 hours. Yeah, of course, everybody wants to do a week or more.
Right.
Parks, sometimes 24, 48 hours, you can knock out a lot in
Yeah.
just that amount of time.
Get a
So,
good, yeah, get you fixed.
right. So that is one Moonlight Magical Night at DHS.